Welcome to All Things Seniors, a podcast for caregivers. If you are a caregiver or someone who is looking to learn about challenges and solutions pertaining to seniors, you are at the right place. We created this podcast to support all caregivers so that while you are driving, cooking, or working out, you can listen to those episodes from this podcast which pertains to your needs the most. In each episode, we will have an industry expert who will share their wisdom and knowledge with you to help you better serve your loved ones. So let's dive right into All Things Seniors.
Hello, and welcome to All Things Seniors. This is your host, Rafiq Punjani. Did you know that over 500,000 Canadians are currently living with dementia? Over 10% of those Canadians with dementia are being cared for in hospitals, even though this is not an ideal location for care for them. Dementia is not just a Canadian challenge, it's a global issue, and complex one as well. It affects families financially, emotionally, culturally. It affects their life overall. And then there are some great people around the world who are spreading the movement to empower families affected by dementia. One such person is with us today, who is arguably world's most renowned speaker and educator on the subject of dementia, Teepa Snow. Teepa is an occupational therapist with 40 years of rich and varied clinical and academic experience. She presents with extraordinary expertise and humor to audiences large and small throughout the world. Welcome to our show, Teepa.
Well, thanks for having me here.
So tell me, Teepa, I was looking at one of your videos on YouTube, and for our listeners, if you have not followed Teepa on YouTube, she has over 2 million views across various videos, very informational. Teepa, you mentioned that 4 out of 5 families fall out as part of the dementia care journey. What are your tips? Give a couple of tips to our listeners that what they can do better to be not those 4 out of 5 families.
Well, one of the things that starts to happen is there's almost always a solo person who thinks they know the person better, who believes they are the better caregiver, or because of the situation, they're in proximity. So they end up doing more. And when somebody takes on more, there tends to be this sense of others are not doing what I'm doing. They don't understand. And one of the things the others could say is, you're absolutely right. Rather than, well, I'm doing what I can do. I'm doing as well as I know how. I'm actually taking her over the weekends, and because what starts happening is we want other people to see our point of view rather than being curious and interested in the other person's perspective. So if my sister says, you don't understand, I say, you're absolutely right. Tell me more about it. It sounds like you're feeling like it's not fair. And I agree. It isn't. You're close to her. She listens to you better. And it is so hard when I try to help her. Tell me some of the things you're doing that seem to be making it work for you. Because I want to be there for you and I want to figure out how to help her. But when I try, we don't have that same relationship. Tell me some things you think I could do that might help you. Because I've got to be willing to hear, maybe I'm not the one to help mom. Maybe my sister is better at getting her to do things. Then how can I help my sister? Because what I thought was going to be the case may not turn out to be how it works. And I make fists. I have families make tight fists. And I say, open your hand. I need you to be willing to let go of what's not working. And when you open your hand and realize this isn't working, what you'll see is, look, there's nothing there. That's because you aren't actually using your hand. You're just trying to hold on to what's not working. So let's start figuring out what might work if we're willing to try something different.
Wonderful. So in a way, we are saying that it is a lot about communications, whether it is the communication with the person who is going through dementia or with the family caregivers who are actually more close to them. Maybe in North American culture, many a time siblings live way far from each other, right? So when mom or dad goes through this journey and now they have to rekindle again and meet again, there are a lot of undercurrents. And what, as a family, I think what I'm getting here is that we need to come over our own sibling challenges and think more about mom and say how we can work better together. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, and part of it is taking a time out and going, let's acknowledge we're not getting along right now. I know it feels like I'm pushing you. I'm not trying to push you. I'm trying to at least get us to look at something differently. Would you be willing to try something if I were to try it as well? You tell me one thing you want me to try and us to see if we can negotiate here. Because I think the Canadian provinces, one of the things that I've noticed is that people are not always where their parents are, or siblings are not in the same spaces because of work opportunities or job interests or spouse relationships. And so what ends up happening is people are doing long distance and close caregiving, but they also are in different places in their lives sometimes. So where one person has some time they can put into this, somebody else is like, I can't, I've got my own kids, I've got this. And so that acknowledgement of, ooh, that feels really uneven and unequal. So what kinds of things are going to be needed in dementia care? And the answer is just about everything.
Teepa, you mentioned something that mom used to be a risky person or always a risk taker, and that's why she may be doing it. You know, that reminds me of a comment somebody made within the space of dementia, and they said that it's not about how dementia unfolds. It's about how dementia affects an individual. So dementia would be different for different people depending upon their personality. Do you want to shed more light on that?
Yeah, so we start off as a human being first and foremost, and dementia happens to a human being. And so who I've been historically, if I've truly shown everybody who I've been from the inside out, and I've not had covers or blankets or protections on me, because over the course of my lifetime, women were only supposed to act like this. Mothers were supposed to behave like that. People were supposed to say things like this. And if I was pretty much, you know, I am who I am. If you don't like me, I am so sorry about that. But, you know, I don't care that much about doing a lot with my hair. I don't care about getting all dressed up, having heels on, go to the party. If I'm coming to the party, I'm coming with decent. I won't smell bad, but I'm not going to get all dressed up. If it's that kind of party, you probably don't want to invite me. And I get dementia, there'll be fewer surprises as long as I don't get a dementia called frontotemporal dementia, an FTD, because then I might not actually be how or who I've ever been before. But in general, underneath, I am still me. But if I had lots of layers on top because of expectations or how I was brought up or what I was told to do and how I was supposed to do it, then you can get very surprised when I develop dementia, because suddenly that impulse control, that overlay, that support that kept me from saying this thing I thought, I'm much more likely to say out loud that which I observe. Oh my God, you're really fat. How much do you weigh? In a line at the grocery store. Mm-hmm. And you're like, Mom. And it's like, what? You don't think she knows she's fat? It's like, you don't say that. Why? And what we're doing is making it worse, because I would never, absolutely never have said that. So I strongly encourage, if I have somebody who doesn't have awareness of her changes, his changes, that the companion, the family member, always carry cards that you can pass to someone and say, I'm sorry, hand them the card, and the card says, the person I am with is living with a form of dementia. I apologize ahead of time for anything that is said or done that is either embarrassing or frustrating. I am sorry. For more information, visit this website, and it has information about where to go find out about dementia. Because I need a way to help people realize this is not my mom. This is my mom living with dementia. And I want to give you this opportunity to understand that. But I can't make her be different, other than I could say to her, Mom, she is large. Tell you what, let's not stay here and look at this. This isn't working for you. Come with me. And remove the visual cue that's causing the behavior. But I can try to make this better for other people, because you know what? The reality is they may be dealing with this, or they may not realize my mother isn't like that. I do, but do I not take her out anymore? Maybe I keep my eye out for people who have weight issues, because she tends to make comments, and I use what I call hand under hand. And I go, "Ooh, hey, Mom, look at this. I want to show you something." And then I gesture and point in another direction. And the ooh with excitement draws people's eyes.
Wow. This is very informational, and I hope that, listener will take away a lot of good stuff from here. Thank you very much for bringing change in life of so many people around the world. I cannot thank you enough. Listeners, if you like today's episode, please subscribe and review it on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. This way you never miss an episode. Also, check out the show notes for the links that Teepa shared with us. I have taken some notes as well, which I will put all the links there so that it's easier for you to access that. We have some behind-the-scene pictures as well on our Facebook page, All Things Seniors, so make sure that you check that out. Again, Teepa, thank you so much for your time today.
You are so welcome, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to folks in Canada, eh?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thanks again for listening, you all. I'm your host, Rafiq Punjani, and we will be back next week. Until then, ciao.